HarperAudio Australia presents Adventures of a Country Vet, written by Rory Dean and read by Kenny Blyth. To Scrappy, the most loyal companion. Rural Youth and Adult Literacy Trust. The Rural Youth and Adult Literacy Trust, RYALT, is an amazing charity that provides coaching for rural and isolated individuals struggling with literacy. Roughly 1 in 10 adults struggles with literacy on a day-to-day basis. By improving awareness and providing access to free, readily accessible coaching, RYALT is working to make this statistic a thing of the past. While the many volunteer coaches act as the engine room behind RYALT, providing teaching to those individuals that are struggling, I'm a community ambassador. This volunteer role involves improving awareness in my local community and directing those who require help or who would like to become coaches to the right place. Personally, I've seen the effects of poor literacy throughout my career. Many rural people have workarounds to avoid having to read and write. I'm proud to be a tiny cog in the RYALT machine. Our volunteer coaches give up their time to guide those in need to better prospects, improved social mobility, and, often, a superior quality of life. A small contribution from my royalties derived from sales of this book will go directly to RYALT. I thank you for your donation. If you would like to offer your time or funds to further this superb cause, visit www.adultliteracy.ac.nz. Preface. I've loved writing from a young age. As a child, I was transfixed by the flow of the ink from a pen onto the page, and I informed my parents that I wanted to be an author. I would scribble and subsequently write little stories about anything or about nothing. Decades later, I have picked up my pen, motivated to write about my veterinary adventures. Cases that have made me laugh, have made me lose sleep, have made me anxious and, occasionally, have made me cry. The life of a rural veterinarian seems to fascinate many, inspiring a romantic, bucolic nostalgia. I was brought up reading about James Herriot, the British veterinarian who battled often challenging conditions to provide veterinary care to the creatures of the Yorkshire Dales. Written by Alf White under the pen name of James Herriot, the fascinating tales of this young vet tending to vomiting dogs and cattle with stagnation at lung have had a lasting impression on me. There is something about rural life that creates rich personalities. I put it down to a combination of hard physical work in challenging conditions, isolation, and the small communities that exist away from the cities. Farmers are at the mercy of the weather and often work alone, which means when things get tough, it really can be awful for them. They can experience physical, financial and emotional pressure all at the same time. Rural veterinary work isn't all rosy, and I don't pretend it is. Every week I am amazed by how kind my community is. I receive food and other gifts regularly, but I've also been sworn at, called every name under the sun, probably and sometimes quite rightly, and one irate gentleman even threatened to shoot me after a particularly difficult calving with a poor outcome. However, it seems that wherever you are in the world, interactions with rural characters can be unique, exciting, and often hilarious. I once worked with a lovely young couple who were in their busiest time of the year on their farm, working hard in physically grueling jobs during one of the wettest seasons since records began, all while the payout slumped to just above the cost of production for most farmers. However, these two persisted. There were several occasions when they could have broken down, both physically and mentally, but they would not be defeated.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?